What have they done about a looming fiscal crisis in the 6 weeks since one of the co-chairs of the President's Deficit Commission called it the most predictable crisis in history? Well, the short answer is not much. 6 weeks after the Democrat co-chairman of the President's own debt commission told us that our nation's deficits and debt are like a cancer that threatens to destroy America from within, and nearly a year after the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff declared our debt to be the single biggest threat to our national security, Democrats are ready to call it a work period. After producing no budget, after offering no plan, and with no plan in sight, why? Well, evidently, Democrats have decided that avoiding this crisis helps them in the next election. That's why they plan to vote against every budget plan that comes to the floor this week, including the president's. Democrats are apparently operating under the assumption that if they're on record opposing everything, it helps them politically. So in other words, we might not leave here this week with a solution to our nation's looming debt crisis, but Democrats are pretty confident they'll leave with some good material for campaign ads. Here's how the senior senator from New York put it yesterday in a moment of candor. To put other budgets out there is not the point, he said. This issue will have staying power and be a defining issue for 2012. They aren't even pretending, not even pretending, to put principle over politics here. According to Senator Schumer, their focus is on an election that's still almost 2 years away. Well, my suggestion is that Democrats start thinking about putting their names on something other than an attack ad. They could start with a budget. America is on pace to spend about $1.6 trillion more than it takes in this year. That's 3 times the biggest deficit we ever had before President Obama took office. The President's plan is to keep deficits like this in place for literally years to come. That's the scenario Admiral Mullen and Erskine Bowles are worried about. Meanwhile, entitlement spending is growing faster than inflation, meaning sooner or later these programs will either consume all the money we have, or these programs will be forced to change. The President's own cabinet admitted this last week when they signed a report showing that Medicare is running out of money and urging prompt reform of the program. Congressman Ryan has shown a lot of courage by proposing a budget that would tackle a big part of the problem. Democrats are showing none by ignoring our problems altogether. Republicans will vote on several possible approaches to our fiscal crisis this week, including the Ryan plan. Democrats will vote against every single one of them. We'll also have a vote on the president's budget, which Democrats will also oppose. They say they prefer the ideas the president outlined in a speech he gave last month. This is a complete and total abdication of their responsibilities as a majority party, and there is no excuse for it. Every year, Congress appropriates nearly $100 million to support the Office of Management and Budget. This money supports a staff of 529 people. OMB's job is to put together a budget. Why exactly haven't they been able to turn the president's speech into a budget we can vote on? They've had nearly 6 weeks to do it. What's the problem? If Democrats can't get 529 people to put some numbers together based on the budget plan the president outlined in his speech, then they've got problems over there. Either that or Democrats are just looking for excuses so they don't have to vote on anything of their own. And they'd rather put together political ads than a solution to the crisis. This is really inexcusable. We have an obligation to the country to come up with a plan. Democrats are officially abdicating that responsibility this week. Americans are going to remember that. As the crisis approached, Democrats did absolutely nothing.